Alright, hi guys. So in today's video, I just have a little speed paint ink wash portrait of Ben Barnes from the new Netflix series Shadow and Bone. I know I'm a few weeks late by now, but I'm not really a fan art kind of person, to be quite honest. Usually I just watch a show and then continue about my life and paint other things, but I've been really into portraits lately, and something about Ben's face just compelled me to paint him. Like, I think he is a very handsome actor, but it's not just the fact that he's good looking, it's like a combination of the features and especially his dark eyes. I don't think I've ever seen someone with eyes as dark as his. Like, they look pitch black. And it's a weird kind of unnerving feature in a way. Even though he seems like such a nice person, but I just thought it was really interesting and I wanted to capture it. And I thought it went so well with his character, the Darkling, General Kirigan. Oh, so dreamy. But yeah, I really enjoyed Shadow and Bone. If you haven't watched it yet by some miracle or misfortune, I would highly suggest you watch it. It's been approved for a season 2, so I will be eagerly awaiting that. The story was very interesting to me, at least. I think maybe the first 2 episodes or so, I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants, not quite understanding what was going on because of the English accents, and there's like, it's kind of Russian themed, or what's the word? Imaginary Russian country. So there's lots of Russian words in English accents, and I couldn't quite make out what they were saying. Then I discovered there's captions. So then I was good after that. But yeah, I really like the series. So you guys should go and watch it. Binge to your heart's content over the weekend or something. Yeah, but so from the time I saw Ben as General Kirigan, and I've seen Ben Barnes or Ben Bonds in the English accent. I've seen him in, let me see, I've watched Dorian Gray. I watched Chronicles of Narnia. I loved Seventh Son. I loved him in Seventh Son. But I think maybe I was just too young to like fully appreciate Ben, not just his performance, but his actual features from an artistic perspective. It's only like watching him recently in Shadow and Bone that I became really intrigued with his face, and I really wanted to do a portrait. So I decided to go really well with his powers of darkness. I would use ink. I just had this really vivid idea in my head of doing a portrait with him and having like the ink spilling out behind him the same way his powers do. So I went ahead and I sketched him out and I started painting, and I don't know, something was just a little bit off. And usually I'm pretty good with portraits. Like, I'm not I'm not photorealistic, but usually I feel like I capture people's features pretty well. But from the sketch, I was a little uncertain about this one. And I used a bunch of different reference pictures, and maybe that's why. But I've also done that before, where I wanted to see his face in like different lighting conditions because I wanted to have a really sharp contrast, like darkness on one side of his face, like he has in the promotional images for Shadow and Bone. And I looked at a bunch of different pictures and tried to put together an expression and the tilt of the head and stuff, and I was a little unsure about the sketch, But you know, sketches are kind of weird. They it's just lines trying to portray like all the shadows and stuff on the face, and it often just looks weird. So I kind of just went ahead and started painting. And I don't know, like, I was feeling pretty good. I really wanted to capture his eyes. Not just the darkness, but like the shape. I feel like he has very interesting shaped eyes as well, very sharp kind of. And together with like the darkness of it, they're very piercing. So I went ahead, I mixed my 3 wells of ink using the Winsor and Newton ink at 3 different dilutions and started going to town. And it was starting to come together. I was like feeling it at first, thinking, yeah, this isn't so bad. This is going okay. And then it just kind of stopped looking like him. At one point, he looked like Doctor Strange. At another point, he started to look like Keanu Reeves, and I was getting pretty upset because that doesn't usually happen for me. So I started really going back to the reference images I was looking at and trying to see where I went wrong or what I could fix. I was so confused at one point, I actually googled like Keanu Reeves, and then I looked at the drawing and realized he doesn't look like Keanu Reeves either. Like, the only thing they really have in common is being white guys with dark hair. I guess like the beard shape is kind of similar too, but Keanu Reeves has a much slimmer face in comparison to Ben. Ben has more like a diamond shaped face. He has like pretty nice cheekbones, and then the beard just kind of narrows his face, kind of pointed down to his chin. I don't know if that's making much sense. Yeah, I really wanted to capture the character of his eyes specifically. And I think I got close-ish. I'm looking here at like him versus the actual, like a picture of him versus the painting that I was doing. And I think maybe I made his eyes a bit too long. Should have rounded them out a little bit. I was trying to capture like that squinty look he has. And maybe I should have made somewhere in the middle of his face. It's a bit too short. And I definitely needed to heighten the hair, I think. But you know, I think it's passable. I'm still a little upset though, because like I know where I wanted it to go and it didn't get there. But you know, I could have scrapped this, but I thought you don't always like nail every idea you have, and I wanted to record this little failure, or I don't know, I know some people wouldn't call it a failure, but it's not exactly what I wanted for him. Oh, I think I got around the nose wrong as well, somehow. Maybe didn't make them wide enough. I think his nose is still a little too small as well. But yeah, just a bunch of little things that need to be tweaked that overall just kind of threw it off. But yeah, I decided that I would post this anyway, because you can't just share all your victories. You should also share the little things that went wrong, you know? And that makes you more approachable, believable, more human. Because it's what happens. You don't always get everything on the first try. So maybe I will try this again. I think I'll try editing it in Photoshop first. Maybe. Then I'll try repainting it if I can't get that. Like edit it to a way that makes me happy. But yeah. Still pretty happy with how it came out. I would be thrilled if Ben could see this. If anyone would like to share, share this around and make sure that Ben gets to see this little portrait that I did. I want to make a little IG video of like the ink spreading out behind him, I wish I had the editing skills to like remove my hands from the shots. I had this grand idea, but I will not be able to pull that off, unfortunately, because I just don't know how. And it makes me kind of sad because I have that image in my mind of like just the ink shooting out behind him. But I tried. I tried to like wrap my head around it with the tools that I have at my disposal, and it did not work. But I will still try to post like a little time lapse of the ink spreading out behind him, but it's gonna have my hands in it, unfortunately. So it kind of takes away from the magic. What else do I want to say? Definitely go watch Shadow and Bone if you don't know who Ben Barnes is. How? I'm just kidding. I wasn't overly aware. Like, I knew him, but I didn't like know him. Now I can say that I am proudly stalking his social media, or at least Instagram. He seems like a really nice guy. He sings and stuff. But yeah, go watch Shadow and Bone so that you can be prepared for when the second season drops. Yeah, here is the lovely moment where the ink was supposed to spread out. My original plan was for me to put down the ink, like I was going to wet the paper and put down the ink and it would just like shoot out. But the little test that I did on some like 5x5 piece of watercolor paper, the distance that it traveled on that little paper was like relative to the fact that it was just a small piece of paper, while this was like a 9x12 piece of paper. So it traveled, but not without some help and a little nudging from me. And that resulted in like my hand being in all the shot because I had to help the ink along, help move it along. The ink also turned brown. I wasn't expecting that. I used the Parker, it says Parker Quink, so like quill ink, I guess. And it isn't waterproof, and it kind of dissolved into brown, which I wasn't expecting. It's a black ink, but you know, with the magic of editing, I think I'll make that gray again, or black. Yeah, just a bunch of little things that kind of took the artwork away from what I originally intended. So I would say this is a good portrait. In terms of it being Ben, I'm not sure. But we will see. Stay tuned for the little edit that I'm going to make for my Instagram. If you want to follow me there, links are down below. If you stuck out to the end of this video, I want to thank you very much for watching. And if you're curious to see any of the other little things that I paint and all my future plans and illustrations and portraits, subscribe and come back to see more. I try to post videos every week on Saturdays. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.